Destin, what is our topic this week?
So what is your favorite Ninja Turtles game, movie, cartoon? It's like either show or game.
Okay.
Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power.
Yeah.
The segment's also brought to you by pizza.
I want to.
The segment brought to you by pizza.
I'll start this off a little controversially and say that when the original cartoon series started coming out on DVD a couple years ago, they sent us one. And
One
I watched,
from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And it does not hold up at all.
No,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
And I loved it as a kid, but it's absolutely does not stand the test of time.
That's true of most of my
atrocious.
childhood memories, unfortunately.
So I would say, man, the original, of course, Ninja Turtles live action film from like 88, something like that, 89.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Was great, but I'm going to go with the arcade version. Well, no, all right. The arcade version of Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, was great, but I'm going to go with the Super NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System version, only because
Turtles in Time.
No, Teenage Mutant
Turtles,
Ninja
the arcade game.
Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
On NES.
On NES.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that because even though it wasn't actually as good as the arcade version, I remember wanting it so bad, and I got it for Christmas, and my buddies and I played it all the time, and that was probably one of my just most used Nintendo cartridges back in the era.
Is that the one that was ported to XBLA?
It was, yeah. And in the very early days.
Yeah.
And it was a great port for $5. Unfortunately, you can't get it anymore. It has been subject to licensing.
Digital games.
Good old Konami.
Future.
The future of gaming.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Yeah.
Okay, mine, you already mentioned it, but that first movie, the one where Raphael says damn like 90 times because it was edgy.
Yeah. And Sam Rockwell's in it, weirdly.
Sam Rockwell's in it. Elias Koteas.
Elias Koteas, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I really, really enjoy that first movie, and like I feel like I can go back and watch it. I like the story it tells. It's loosely based off of issues like 24, 25, and 26, I want to say, of the comics. So like it's based off a few issues of the comics where like Raphael gets messed up. And like I just like to watch that. I like how it was presented. It's very 80s. But I like it a lot. Yeah.
The three of you might have overpowered me with the loss of but one.
Yeah.
But now your fate will be his.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Most of that movie committed to
that was really good.
You really are just a soundboard.
Oh, man. It's so true. It's awful. It's true. Casey Jones was in that movie.
Yeah, Casey Jones.
That was Elias.
Casey Lynch.
Yeah. Casey Lynch was in that movie, too, yeah.
He played a homeless man in Pupil
Casey
years
Affleck
later.
was in that movie somehow. How weird is it that we're talking about Turtles on the one episode Mitch isn't on, by the way?
That's really funny.
It's despite him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing would probably be the arcade version of Turtles in Time. That was one of those, sort of in that era, alongside the Simpsons arcade game and the X-Men arcade game, where these like amazing beat 'em ups that you played with like 4 or 6 people. And
Hold up, I didn't know they did Turtles in Time arcade.
Yeah, and it was a little bit different.
yeah.
There was like a pirate ship level, I want to say. Like, there was
well,
some level that was different.
Right, the home version was different than the arcade version.
Yeah.
And for no apparent reason. That was the weird thing back then.
I mean, that was the only thing was at a time when arcades were more powerful than a console, which obviously doesn't
Do you realize if that happened now, like if there were arcades and there were arcade games and then they were ported home, if a level was different for no apparent reason, people would
it's like like the what is it, Mario Kart GX or whatever. There's a
Pac-Man.
Mario Kart arcade that has Pac-Man you can play, and there's all this cool shit in it that has never come to home console.
Yeah, it's crazy. I also really like the Turtles Tournament Fighter fighting game for
what?
some reason.
Hold on. I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter.
That might be the only fighting game I'm good at. Outside of the one round of Injustice, I beat Destin.
So I got to ask you, Marty, that game actually came out on Genesis and Super Nintendo,
Really?
and they were
different.
vastly different.
Yeah, completely different
which
characters,
did you prefer?
mechanics. I only played the Super Nintendo version. I remember it had...
Which one was better?
Arguably...
for a fighting game, probably Super Nintendo?
Because I remember Street Fighter was better on Super NES.
Yeah.
But then Mortal Kombat was better on Genesis because it had all the blood.
I was a Genesis guy at the time, so I really liked the Genesis version. It was like darker. It was set in like Well, I don't want to say where it's set. I don't remember, but you had like different. You had different.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
No, I can't remember.
You remember the issue numbers that the movie was based on.
Yeah. I wanted to say Dimension X, but I don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a different storyline and different. You had like this bug enemy nobody had ever seen before.
Baxter Stockman.
No, it was just like a beetle. I have no
John
idea who he was.
Baxter was,
But then
was the level 1 boss
of the
arcade
arcade.
game.
Yeah.
And then the Super Nintendo version had like Armageddon.
Yeah,
the
Armageddon.
shark.
It had War,
Yeah.
who was like a big purple thing.
Yeah,
Like
and that's
Grimace, an angry grimace.
Yeah, so the Super Nintendo version had characters from the Archie line of comics. I like Ninja Turtles too much.
Unlockable
Yeah.
Jughead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jughead.
No,
That was
that
a-
is
That
not
was a really
thing.
good Archie joke that no
not a
one laughed
thing.
at.
That never happened.
All right, Goldfarb, what's your favorite? Turtles
Oh
movie?
man, so the thing is, I feel like it's a combination of those three things, right? Like I remember both Turtles the arcade game and Turtles in Time just killing my parents by making them spend so much money at the arcades. For me though, my actual like turtle memory has to be the toys. Like I was such a nerd collecting Turtles toys. Not that I'm not a nerd now collecting toys, but I mean then especially like Turtles was, God, I was obsessed. I remember.
Did you have the van?
I did. I had the van. I had this like 4 foot tall, like it looked like a sewer entrance. And it was like really, it was like this just
The
massive
playset.
like bucket. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, oh God, it was so. I like remember those figures so much. And now I don't even know where they are. I guess we probably threw them away when I moved, which is really depressing. But I had a Krang and like the had like a door on the front of it, and the door broke off, and so I had like shitty like Scotch tape to keep the character in. Like, oh God. But I just remember that. Like I remember that, and of course the cartoon show, watching a lot.
Yeah.
And then my parents not letting me watch the live action movie because they thought it would be too scary.
Too scary?
Yeah.
Piece of jerks.
They were worried you'd
I
have
was kind of a wuss as a child,
Did anyone
and as an
listen-
adult, as a 27-year-old male. Also, I'm too scared of the Turtles live action film.
I hear the new series is good, even for
It's
people,
phenomenal.
even
Yeah.
for people our age.
Well, and that's what's so cool is that Turtles is like, it makes me feel kind of good because now when I see like all this weird crap that like young kids are doing, and I feel like I'm 90 years old, like it kind of is nice that something like the Turtles is still around,
Yeah.
because like there's been like the recent comics are supposed to be really good. I haven't read them and I haven't seen the show, but again, that's supposed to be like really, really good. I know like Rich and Mitch and even like diehard Turtles fans really like it.
I like you're like, back in my day, we
Yeah.
had Ninja Turtles.
It's true though, like
They were mutants, heroes in a half shell. And you're like, Grandpa, we have that now. It's on Nickelodeon.
and they're way
Okay?
hipper and cooler, of course. But the pot references for Michelangelo are way more overt, I think, at this point.
Dude.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny to me that like that's something that has lasted. Whereas like if I try to talk about like David the Gnome or something, obviously that's
Wow.
not around anymore.
That's how you pick up a girl at a
David
bar.
Gnome.
We did get a few Twitter responses. CC008 agrees that the current show on Nick is phenomenal too. Great tribute to the 90s cartoon and comics while having its own spin on things. And then, who else? Loxy said, original TMNT animated series nostalgia. By the way, loving the OOTS title theme, Turtles rap from the live action film.
Yeah.
That's the new game, and like somehow they got the rights to some rap song no one's wanted to use for 20 years.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Ninja.
No,
Ninja.
not that one.
Rap.
No, it's the one from the first movie. It's like heroes of the Turtles 4. In this day and age, you could ask for more.
Oh, I had that
Yeah.
soundtrack.
I love that.
I had that soundtrack.
Dustin, can you please rap the full thing for us?
No, I don't have the lyrics
Oh,
memorized.
I'll
Just-
give
can
you.
get
Yeah,
the lyrics
I
for
can
you
get you
right-
the lyrics in a second.
we just did a commentary about it. And then Chris Connor, CCC08, also said, Turtles in Time, I keep my SNES in working condition just for that game.
Wow.
Phenomenal
Good
game.
man, Chris.
Yeah.
What? You don't have the arcade cabinet? Try and be a little more dedicated,
Someone in poor
buddy.
parents.
Surely it can't be more expensive than a Super NES. All right, is that our time?
That is it. We are hitting 9 minutes, so
9
we got to
minutes.
wrap it up.
Well, that's not the name of the segment.
There's
That
no
doesn't have a T.
alliteration.
Well, by the time we wrap it up,
Okay.
it'll be 10 minutes. So I
Okay.
always say, okay.
Can we take 30 seconds to do the Turtles rap?
Do you have the lyrics pulled up?
Oh, I could have. You said you weren't going to do it.
It's too
Well,
late.
We made a
you're
huge
gonna blow
mistake.
it. You're gonna blow it.
It's too late.
Well-
We'll do 10-minute Twitter talk again next week here on Podcast Unlocked. If you're obviously watching the video here, be sure to listen to the full Podcast Unlocked, where things even crazier than this happen. Most people get it on iTunes, but you can also find it on IGN or...
That's not it.
That's some idiot on YouTube doing it. That's not...
No,
That
that's
is Vanilla
definitely
Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
It is?
Yeah.
Yes.